Hi everyone. Today class we will understand what is the availability check. Uh, what are the standard availability checks configured in SAP S for HANA. So let us understand the concept. What is this availability check? So ATP, which stands for availability promise. So this it determines if a material is available on a requested delivery date. So when we create a sales order, we enter the customer's requested delivery date. So based upon that, the system determines whether the material is available. It balances demand against supply and also ensures reliable delivery promises by checking the stock available in real time. So it is an automatic check which is carried by SAP in the background. Okay. What is the logic built in the ATP? So the system will determine the check, which is based on these two parameters. One is checking group, another is checking group. So the checking group, which is defined in the material master sales general data tab. Okay. So material master, so many views are there. You can have this sales general plan data. I will show you in the SAP where it is defined and how it is understood by ATP logic. So next is the checking rule, which is coming from the document type configuration. Next is the interaction combination of rule, group and rule, which is define the scope of check. So this transaction code is OBJ9. We define the scope of check. Next is what are the transaction codes we will come across while doing this configuration. So this MM02, we have this metal master, we assign the checking group. And OVZ9, we define the scope of check, whether we'll include this or that or exclude. CO009 is the ATP check overview, which is displays the availability situation. VA01, we create the sales order, the background, it performs the ATP check. OPJJ, when maintaining the checking rules and the control parameters. So define checking group, how we'll do? We'll do three through the basic function, availability check, define checking group, then define checking rule and scope of check. So these are three major configuration done by SAP, or if you want to customize anything, you can do. Okay. Key combination consideration. Ensure the checking group is matches with the configuration. Whatever there in the metal master, that configuration is there. Otherwise, the ATP check will not be carried out. OVJ9 determines which elements are considered, and always test the ATP logic in CO09 to verify the results in business requirement. Once you do some configurational changes, always do the test in this transaction. Okay. So this is all about the availability check. So we'll go to SAP. We'll go to SPRO. Here the area is sales and distribution, basic function. Go to availability check and transfer requirement. So out of that, you go to availability check. Here you go to rule-based, availability check with the ATP logic. So here we are defining the availability checking group. So these are the availability checking group which is defined in the system. Okay. So these are the if you see this 0102, you can understand daily requirement, individual requirements. There is something called advanced ATP. So S/4HANA comes with the advanced ATP functions. So this 0102 we have marked as inactive. The system as by default it is coming with inactive, and if you are going to enable AATP in for some materials or some processes you are enabling AATP, advanced ATP, then you have to go through this availability checking group, enable that checking group for advanced ATP, and accordingly that material is going for advanced ATP process. So let us go to, so 01, 01 is the daily requirement. So MRP, all the requirements are clubbed together and it is going as a single line. And here individual requirements, it is handled through MR. Okay. Now, this checking group is available at MM02, 3. So, once you do the definition there, okay, here once it is defined, suppose I will define XY, and then I can assign in, sorry, we can assign in availability checking group. So here, so if you define there, sorry, you can assign here. Okay. And if you go back, you go to the checking rule. Okay, so checking rule. So it is the default values for the checking availability checking group. You can see, you can enable this. Suppose you have created the, so one material type, for particular that material type, it should go for particular that checking group. So what you can do is, so you can map it. So new entries, I have created one material group JERT, JERT, and then the plant was JPP1. I will mark it as individual. For me, it is an individual requirement. So I'll mark it as 2. This also I can define. Once I define the checking group, availability checking group. So here the scope of checking group. So this rule is created by the system. Okay, checking rule. So let us go to the checking rule. So what is the T code for the checking rule? Availability define checking rule. What is the T code? OPJJ. So OPJJ. So here, this is the checking rule we have defined. Here. Okay, so this is what the same thing. Okay, the configure scope of the availability check. So here you can see this checking rule is mapped. So suppose for me it is 02, and I am going for doing a availability check while doing a sales order. So this A is triggered, and under inside that you have this configuration. So what you use there? So you include with safety stock, with stock and transfer, with quality inspection, this kind of. Okay. here you have the requirements. What you should considering, so which stocks need to consider. If I'm excluding this, I'm not putting a tick mark. I'm excluding those stock into my calculation. Suppose let us take an example. I do not have any stock. Customer has ordered for 500 quantity and 500 quantities in safety stock. If I'm not putting this stock, putting this tick, I'm not selecting this, then no material is confirmed. If I'm selecting this, so from the safety stock, it can be sold. So the material is confirmed as 500 and the stock actually taken from the safety stock. So there is no issue. So if the business decide that safety stock, from the safety stock also it can be partially sold. So you can partially or fully sold. So you can do that. Okay, like that requirements with sales requirements, deliveries. If some requirements are there, already the stock is sales order is created. So the requirement has been created by some process. So reservation is created, dependent requirement is created, sales orders are already created. So those already block the stock. So suppose I have 1000 stock and 600 stock already taken by some other requirements. So I am remained with only 400 stock. So 400 stock can be configured. So like that, future supply also you can consider. Okay, and also others. Here result after check horizon, ignore check horizon in the sense this is particularly about the production material which can be produced by the product by the plant. So it will go for a production, and when it will be after the production it can be confirmed. The date and amount will be confirmed. So here I can make a ignore check horizon. If I do a ignore check horizon, it will not be considered. Okay, so I'll not go for the production planning. Okay. Likewise, delayed supplies, also planned orders, production orders, all these excluded. So this is the standard configuration for the availability scope of availability check for the A. Similarly, it is for the B. Delivery is also there. You have the delivery as make to order. You have all this configuration, and you have okay, you have okay, so you have the default values for the availability checking group. Okay, this we have done. Basic availability check group behavior. You can see there is no product allocation, is not ticked. So 01, 02, no tick as product allocation. If you're doing a product allocation, you have to tick this. Okay, product allocation, I'll come to another class which will speak about the availability check against the product allocation. Okay. So this is all about the configuration on the availability check. So once the sales order is created, the line the item category is created. From the item category, the schedule line is created, and also the availability check is also performed. So for availability check, the availability checking group is determined taken from the material master, and based upon the settings on the availability check and rule, the scope of availability is known, and from the scope of the availability, the material availability quantity and the date is confirmed to the sales order. So this is the process. Okay, I hope the concepts are now clear. So just look at the three steps. These are the three major steps, and you can customize according to your a new checking group if you can create, you can do a scope of a check based upon that checking rule. So you can customize this these requirements, future supply, stocks, receipts, and everything, and based upon that, your availability check will be performed. Okay. So thank you. This is the end of the class. So thank you. Next class we will discuss about the transfer of requirements. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for your time.